Esteemed colleagues and participants, today we engage with the intricate phenomenon of rural gentrification, or RG, in Italy. I'm Secretary Salvatore Polverino and I serve in the Department of Training and Internazionalization at the Ordine, degli Architetti, Pianificatori, Paesaggisti, Conservatori di Napoli, Italy. Slide from inner areas in blue to red ones, RG, in the Italian context, is implied by significant socio-economic cultural shifts, limited as identified by our previous disadvantaged landscape research. Now the motivational standards set by three core ideals. Rural sites seen by UNESCO World Heritage Center and its director, for which the landscape is intended as the last bastion for culture. A second Camaldoli Manifesto, endorsed by the Società dei Territorialisti, which adheres to professional training guidelines established. A third, the new Common Agricultural Policy, or CAP. CAP strategic plans aim to expand the area under organic farming to nearly 10% by 2027, doubling the area supported in 2020. Nonetheless, what are the adversarial factors that have emerged in the phenomenon of RG? Are we effectively building, converting to adequately meet Italy's future needs in compliance with the good agricultural and environmental conditions? Can the leader approach be effectively implemented to encompass areas home to 65% of the population? Vedutismo in the 18th century serves as a historical parallel to today's RG. From Latin gentis, it referred to high social classes. The Cistercian motto, "to work is to pray," captures their belief that labor was both a necessity and a spiritual practice, in compliance with the even more stringent hygiene and veterinary normatives of nowadays. Buzzoletto Vecchio farmhouse, from a rural enclave to a luxury rural pittoresque setting. Likewise in Borgo Pieve and Brugherio. Matera, Guardia San Framondi, into isolated citadels. Val di Fassa for its second houses. Santuario della Santa Casa, surrounded by the fertile soils of Valtellina wines, as for military walls. Each region has interpreted differently this tapestry of textures and urban composition. Repurposing rural functions in small-scale manufacturing seems a small commitment, but it's not. It stands as a crucial mission to preserve the made in Italy. Architects are hence advocated to remember the immaterial heritage of RG. Architects must work face-to-face using local materials and to promote biodiversity with the cover crops, soil fertility by cows, dry stones. We must remember the factors that led our ancestors to establish settlements in harsh conditions. Authentic rural gentrifiers focusing on productive agriculture are frequently neglected due to limited agricultural knowledge. But now the MCMA selection. By analyzing how the TF-IDF scores of different terms evolve over time, we can gain insights into the changing landscape of agricultural policies and priorities. To fully assess the dimensional scope, the spatial thematic PCA representation model with the cosine similarity matrix, gray literature with a sufficient database up to 2023, and Prisma. Pursuing the Prisma protocol to ensure all relevant studies were considered. Initially, we identified 120 database records. 4 stages propelled the research with an initial set of questions. Who were the translators involved in the research process? Did they have expertise in the field of RG or relevant cultural knowledge to ensure accurate translation and interpretation of data? Now the materials. For a subgroup of 33 studies, 14 articles published in Scienze del Territorio and 9 from the Italian Journal of Forests and Mountain Environments by the Firenze University Press. Additionally, scholarly contributions from the Italian Journal of Forest with the manuscripts authored by the distinguished Dottoressa Alessandra Stefani, affiliated with the General Directorate of Mountain Economy and Forests at the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and now the result with the meta-analytical component. This regression model and its implications was initially based on binary evaluation. This dichotomous approach was preferred, assigning a value of 1 for yes, indicating a noticeable increase in agricultural productivity or recognition, and a value of 0 for no, where certain parameters were excluded. No literature to date has cited a severe disadvantage, ACNS, as a parameter, thus it was not included in our classification. Discussing optimum, which marks the peak performance of our variables. The highest value was noted in V3C2A, active citizenship, at 5.94. Despite emphasizing inclusive citizenship, searches for conscious active citizenship yielded no relevant papers due to the non-rurality parameters not covering enough, in other words, this type of rural citizenship. Cesaro's item was the most complete from this viewpoint. RG and its rural context, such as sites of community importance for the alpine and Apennine habitats and internal areas, were consistently linked in the results. The analysis predominantly addresses biotic aspects, the multifunctional role of forests by Cesaro and regional policies, organic farming in the biodistricts, gaps in the European Agricultural Fund of rural development, active citizenship marked by civic engagement and participation contrasts sharply with inactive or non-participatory citizenship, which denotes this engagement from civic duties. Briefly, the 5 semantic classes for which we assigned the bag of keywords and their related statistics. Similarity of normal order statistics medians, H chi squared, 290.9, HC tie corrected. The bias evidence value of 5.142E minus 10 was strongly supports the specified hypothesis or model, indicating a high degree of the element between the collected data and the proposed model. For Cruz-Cal valleys, a p-value of 0.9687 suggests that the observed differences are linked to the random chance, indicating consistency. Using a principal component analysis, PCA, to significant clusters located near the position D19 econometrics, D40 farmland, and D36 bioeconomy. Notably, the components D16 circularity and E9 development are dissociated from the main clusters, indicating distinct thematic deviations. At the extremes, we find D46 forest and D19 econometrics. In this study, 26 groups were formed, each including the B1 jointification component for consistency, B5 landmarks protection, and B1 jointification for Carrozio, E3 urbanization and D9 agriculture shift for Cattivelli, D20 soil land structure for Cyrec, D13 active citizenship, E3 urbanization for De Matteis, D20 soil structure, D10 tourism for Ebreo, D37 rural education and E1 displacement for the territory for Ferlaino, D2 dwellers, Montanari, inhabitants, and B1 gentrification for Marengo, D41 exogenous paradigm and B1 for Meloni, D23 exclusionary marginalized zoning, minorities, and D16 grassroots circular economy, waste, life cycle assessment for Meloni. Data correlations, puzzling balance for our bag of words, causing similarity from RG exclusive viewpoint. Data from this study are available upon request from the First author, Secretary Salvatore Polverino. We invite keynote speaker to the Q&A section. Special thanks go to the in-office President, Professor Architect Lorenzo Capobianco, Honorary President Paolo Pisciotta, and Professor former President Leonardo Di Mauro. Then Vice Head of the Department of Architecture at Italian University, Professor Amadnia, and Conservator Architetto Antonio Coppola for their expert advice and co-authorship in the archival initiative and consultations. No research institution, in example university teaching, has ever been involved in the research. We sincerely appreciate your attention. Goodbye.